Hello, Internet, and welcome to SuperChallengeBros.
Welcome.
It's debunking game theory time. I made a bold statement last video that I could prove MatPat wrong about Mario, and I can, but to clear things up, I was talking about some very specific videos. His Mario is Mental videos, parts 1 and 2, Rosalina Unmasked, parts 1 and 2, Mario Timeline, and Luigi Penis videos, to be exact.
Why are we doing
this? I'm not even kidding.
Why are we doing this?
I'm not even kidding. The rest of the Mario videos are either really valid or legitimate enough to, be considered okay. Or they just focus on a completely different subject that doesn't even matter. Anyway, we hear from MatPat a lot of really harsh things towards Mario. In the videos, he attempts to prove that Mario is a sociopath, a cuck, a man who leaves Peach for Daisy, and a guy with a small dick.
How did they prove
I'm not even kidding. Now, if you don't already notice a pattern, I'm sensing a bit of bias from MatPat, alright? It seems like all he does is bash Mario for seemingly random shit. But anyway, moving on. MatPat lays out some pretty convincing evidence for all his claims, but I'm about to show you that they're watertight, as they say.
So cringe.
Mario's Mental attempts to prove Mario's a sociopath with ASPD, which is antisocial personality disorder, something that Joker and shit has, which I doubt Mario has. I mean, look at him. He just killed a man.
He's socializing with Coops. Sorry.
He attempts to prove this by comparing his actions towards people to that of the actions towards a psychopath would take. So, in the first video, he outlines, these actions that he does are only actions that a sociopath would do. And the actions he talks about is when Mario abuses Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., when Mario jumps on Wigglers, specifically Wigglers, and I'll get to the reason why. When he shoots Cheep Cheeps, treats Yoshi like shit, how he treats Luigi, very poorly, and how he allegedly goes out with Peach, Pauline, and Daisy at the same time, just cheats on all of them. And also, he makes the claim that he kills toads by hitting blocks, which is also explained later.
You murdered us.
So all of these are wrong, and here's why. So Mario's abuse of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. are not to the DK that we all know, right? They're not to Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country. They are actually from DK's father and grandfather, because Cranky Kong is the original DK, which is the one that got abused, and Donkey Kong Jr. is the father of the Donkey Kong that we have now.
Okay.
Hooray. So they're not the same person, first of all. Alright? But then, to further disprove his theory, in his Mario Timeline video, he actually proves that there are two Marios. One which is Mario's father, and one which is Mario, the brother of Luigi. Alright? So, the Mario that was abusing Donkey Kong wasn't actually Mario, but his father.
Oh.
Alright? Now, this also explains the Pauline shit, because Pauline is his mother. So, he can't be going out with his own mother. Alright? So, there you go. Some facts out of those. Alright? And you can remove the evidence of abusing Donkey Kong and animals out of the equation.
No, you can't. He abused Cranky Kong. Mario's dad did.
His dad. But not him. And I'm trying to defend him.
Mario.
Not his dad. I don't give a fuck about his dad.
Okay.
Alright? So then, MatPat brings up Mario's treatment of Wigglers, Cheep Cheeps, and Yoshi. This is explainable, because in the example he gives for Wigglers, he mentions one that doesn't attack Mario primarily, which is the only one, the only Wiggler that doesn't hit first is this guy, the stupid little bitch from Mario 64. That's Millen's printer. Ignore that.
Ignore that, yeah.
So, it's the only one that doesn't attack you first. Alright? And he's using that as an example for why, Mario is a sociopath, because he just mercilessly kills him. Well, to excuse Mario on that, I don't recall it being Mario's fault that he needs power stars, and the Wiggler is literally keeping one from him. I'm pretty sure I recall Mario asking the Wiggler for it, and Wiggler just being like, "Nah, bitch, I'm keeping it." So, like,
nah, bitch, I'm keeping it.
Also, even if that wasn't true, I think the fact that Mario is killing him to save the Mushroom Kingdom is a good enough excuse to kill him, alright? And if you still don't think that's good enough, you could have just chosen as the player not to kill him. Just, like, exit the level, choose a different level, get a different star. Like, what the fuck is wrong? With the Cheeps, they almost always attack first, and it's kind of what makes them, like, enemies, because they're enemies. And finally, the Yoshi one just takes common sense. He points out how he punches Yoshi in Super Mario World, right? But that makes perfect sense. Super Mario World is the first time has ever seen Yoshi, alright? And you're probably thinking, oh, what about Yoshi's Island where Mario's a baby? Well, Mario's not gonna fucking remember when he was a baby, right? So, like, if you see a fucking velociraptor in front of you, I don't think you're gonna treat it nicely.
Velociraptor.
Because that's literally what Yoshi is. He's drawn in a cute style and shit, but he's an actual fucking dinosaur. So I think it makes perfect sense that Mario would hit him at first, and then eventually learn, oh, he's helping me, I shouldn't hit him. But that's just my argument. So then, MatPat goes on to talk about the treatment of Luigi, which at this point I feel is redundant for him to say, but he says that his treatment of Luigi is cruel. But I think it's not really true, because any emotions that we see between Mario and Luigi, any interactions, they're really more implied than anything. Like, Nintendo doesn't really like to show interactions between characters, but rather just the characters themselves in a nice little portrait of what you think they are.
Yeah.
So, I don't think his evidence could really, like, go that far, but he does point up a few good things, right? But most of them, in my opinion, end up just being funny gags or jokes. He points out the ending of New Super Mario Bros., where Mario and Peach go on a hot air balloon and leave Luigi on the ground, right? But that's meant to be a joke. It's meant to be funny. Like, you're supposed to laugh at that moment because, like, Luigi trips and everything. It's kind of his fault. It's like, haha, look at Luigi, he sucks dick. But, like, yeah, so MatPat might have just taken that the wrong way. I don't know, but I'll give him the credit of using one thing that does look convincing. It's in Mario Tennis, where Mario rubs his shoe against Luigi's, and while laughing and, like, looking sinister, alright? Which you don't usually do as a joke. Like, why would you rub your shoe against someone else's?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So, like, it does look mean looking, right? But I still think it could be taken differently. Like, they both laugh in the cutscene, Luigi laughing a bit nervously, but still, they're both laughing, they're both having a decent enough time. So, like, why not take it that way? And if you're not going to take it as a joke, then, well, too bad, because it's not included in the Mario timeline. In the Mario official canon, I don't think Mario Tennis, or any other sport game for that matter, would be included as actual canon. So I don't think that argument could be made. But I digress. MatPat's last two arguments for Mario being a sociopath are his cheating and him killing Toads. So this is another thing debunked in the timeline video, where because he makes a timeline and assumes himself to be correct, he actually makes it so that he's not cheating on any of the girls that you see him with. Pauline is just his mother, which is why he doesn't have any romantic interest in her. Peach is his actual, like, girlfriend, kind of. And he does pull out this evidence from the Mario Land games, where he falls in love, quote, quote, with Daisy, right? By showing little hearts and stuff. But, again, checking the canon, the Mario Land series is not canon. So it doesn't really count. And if you're going to say it does count, I think, like, 3 little hearts going up in the air isn't enough to imply, like, oh, it's probably, like, you know, he loves her.
Yeah, he
or
loves
something.
Daisy, yeah.
Like, maybe it's just he's relieved or something. Arguments can be made for that. But anyway, lastly, for the sociopath side of things, the killing Toad shit refers to the fact that in the manual of Super Mario Bros. 1 for the NES, it says Toads were turned into blocks, and it's assumed that Mario breaks them. Now, the first argument, it doesn't specify that the blocks you see in the game are the transformed Toads. It could just be any random fucking block that's not in the game that you don't see, right? Yeah. Second, even if they were Toads, you could go through that entire game without breaking a single one. It's been done before. It's called the Pacifist Run. And and you could choose not to break them. So, like, technically, if you're breaking them and you're making the argument...
It's your own doing.
Exactly. Like, you're saying, oh, Mario's a sociopath for doing that. It's not Mario who's a sociopath. It's you sick fuck. You could also make the argument against that, like say you don't break them or anything. You could make the argument, well, if you weren't supposed to break them, then why do they give you points? Well, they could be, like, in my opinion, they could be guilt points. Because some games do implement that, like Undertale being a famous example, but like a lot of games implement the system where, like, if you kill someone, you score up points, but they're towards, like, guilt. Or feeling bad. They're not, like, supposed to be considered a good thing. But, so that's it for that. The next videos of his Mario theories are his Rosalina and Mass videos, which outlines the following. Rosalina is Peach's daughter from the future, and Luigi is most likely the father. So I'm not going to go too far in depth into this one, even though I could. But basically, in his video, he mentioned several times how Mario has a good chance of being the father, but Luigi has a better one due to genetics. What MatPat overlooked here is how crazy genetics can be sometimes. Like, I think that even though the theory is cool and all, saying that, oh, Rosalina is probably Luigi's daughter or whatever, I think it's still just as, if not more likely, that Mario is the father. Simply because, like, Mario's in an established relationship with Peach, and it would make perfect sense for Nintendo to go that route. And just because, oh, Luigi has greater chances doesn't mean that it's solidified, right? Mm-hmm. It's all up to probability, and that's the holes that you can poke throughout this entire theory for the Rosalina theories, is that it's all based on probability. There's no actual facts involved, and it's really hard for him to prove, like I'm proving right now. Basically, my argument is that I think that because genetics have a chance of skipping a generation, that I think that Rosalina more likely resembles her grandfather, which is Mario's father and Luigi's father, right? And that's why she seems more similar to Luigi, even while being Mario's daughter. And it's because she resembles her grandfather more. Because her grandfather, like... It's really hard to say. Grandpa Mario, let's just call him from here on out. Grandpa Mario. There's no specifications of what he is. You don't ever see him being right-handed or left-handed. You don't ever see him having this or having that. It's just pixels on a screen that you can't really tell what he is, right? Whereas Rosalina, Luigi, Mario, you can very easily, and that's what the theory is based off of, the one that he makes. He bases it off of, like, oh, Rosalina's left-handed, so is Luigi, but Mario isn't. It's Luigi's the father, whatever. But I think that if the grandfather, Grandpa Mario, is left-handed, then there's equal chance for either of his kids to have a kid that is also left-handed. But hey, that's my argument. Crazy genetic shit, you know. Anyway, the next video I'm going to disprove is his timeline video, which is actually one of my favorite of his videos. I do respect him a lot for what he does. I mean, he has more subscribers than us, so I wouldn't know. But, like, this timeline video used to be my absolute favorite. Now it's, like, third favorite video of his. But, it's like a flimsy one. I do like it just because of the ideas that it gives out, but it's a flimsy theory at best because he uses some non-canon stuff. He just puts together what he thinks is right based on his own theories and not what would objectively be correct. So, like, for example, like, he put Super Mario Land 2 at the end of the timeline, being the last game in the series, simply because, that's when he gets together with Daisy and lives the rest of his life on his own or whatever. But that would only be correct according to him. Like, if you follow his theories and you think his theories are correct, then that would be the only time in which that timeline would be correct. Which is why I don't think that timeline theory really holds up. Overall, I think it's awesome. But again, like, really flimsy. Because you can just say, oh, that game isn't canon and stuff like that. So finally, the piece of resistance is the Luigi penis theory.
Wow.
MatPat made a theory video about Luigi's schlong because it was a trending topic. How big is Luigi's dick? And so he made a theory video trying to find out his size. And in the same video, he also tries to find out Mario's just for comparison, right? And he concludes that Luigi has a giant dick and that Mario has a really small dick. Now, I'm going to prove both of these things wrong, alright? So, the reason the theory is wrong is because, well, I mean, it's wrong on a lot of levels, but anyway, there's a lot of reasons. First off, Luigi's dick really isn't 9 inches, alright? That's what he concludes it to be. He concludes it 9.5 inches. Like, that's where he puts ballparks it, right? First off, he determines this number, and one of the points that he mentions is giving an extra 2 inches because apparently there's 2 inches more under your fat. Like, under your, like, pelvic fat. There's 2 more inches of dick there that you never get to see or use. But I personally think that shouldn't count because you don't see it, you don't use it, and it's impossible to get to unless you're anorexic.
That's dumb, man.
So we're taking 2 inches off right off the bat. So it's reduced from 9 to 7, alright? Which is still pretty big. But MatPat just assumes, alright? He starts assuming things. He assumes that Luigi is a grower and not a shower due to some statistic about most men being growers. He says most men grow 50% at least when getting hard. And there's a lot of assumptions he's making, like 80% of men are like this and stuff. And this could have been researched, but again, like, is it really that viable of information? Like,
does he cite things, sir?
He does, but like, how many sources could you really put down that prove the same thing about like a large, like, group of guys' penises? Like, you're not really gonna find many studies that show, like 90% of men are like. So, sketchy information, right? But I personally think that Luigi is a shower, and the reason why is he gets all this information about dicks from promotional art from Mario Tennis Aces, where it's the only art that shows Luigi with a bulge, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where the whole, like, meme came from, where, like, trying to find Luigi's size or whatever. I think Luigi is a shower, and the reason why is because his bulge is pretty big, and I fucking doubt that anyone would be rock hard in a tennis match. Like,
okay, I actually have been a few times, I'm not gonna lie. But not because I'm attracted to
discounting your own experiences, Miller.
I'm a pretty good source for information.
Okay, like... Fuck! Are you, though? I'm pretty sure a sane person wouldn't be like...
No, it's not. You know, because you get boners, you don't have to be attracted to anything to get a boner,
you can get it randomly, but I doubt Nintendo's gonna be like, let's factor in random boners. Like,
true.
I'm going under the assumption that Nintendo isn't thinking about random boners. And
hey, but you're calling him out for his assumptions, and now you just said you're making an assumption yourself.
Okay, fine. I'm going under the estimation, the educated guess that Nintendo established a well-deserved, well-good fucking... What's the word?
I don't know what you're fucking saying.
Fucking, whatever. They have a good reputation. That was the word I was looking for. Well-established, good reputation company. I doubt that they would be thinking of random fucking boner generation in their new tennis game, alright?
Boner generation.
Now, assuming that, like, in tennis matches, men don't usually get hard, alright? I would say he's a shower, okay? Which brings down his size even more to be anywhere between 4 and 6, alright? Let's give MatPat the benefit of the doubt and say Luigi, on his average day of jerking off and getting hard to Daisy, would be a size of 6, or even 6.5. I don't care. Let's go to defending Mario. MatPat goes on his theory to say Mario is anywhere between 2 to 5 inches long. And that's why he gets the hero complex to compensate as he feels inferior to Luigi. But first off, how would he know Luigi's dick size? Like, I know they're brothers, but that is not something I think brothers would willingly share with each other. Like,
yeah.
Second, no. I think MatPat's wrong in this too, because the very video he says this in, he also states that he has no firm way of calculating Mario's dick size, and instead goes with a naked picture of Mario he found in a Nintendo official manga. Now, if you think that's good enough because it's Nintendo license, well, no. I say no because the naked picture uses a manga art style that depicts characters with small penises. This art style is popular and inaccurate as fuck. It was most famously used in Dragon Ball, and again, it's just a style, meaning it doesn't care about proportions, especially not of dicks. So if you don't care about what manga art style is used and still think MatPat is correct, then consider this. There is no firm way Mario's dill size could be calculated. And if you still believe MatPat, even though he himself said he had no way of calculating it for sure, then there's an official Nintendo licensed Mario Bros. Porno movie that Nintendo has tried their hardest to hide and prevent from coming to the public.
Wait, what?
That holds the true sizes of both parts.
Yeah, right.
I'm not joking.
What?
Even though it wasn't made by Nintendo and is definitely non-canon, the manga is also non-canon, so I think it should be used. Incredible. It is still licensed by Nintendo. This porno movie, licensed by Nintendo. And they do own the rights to it. So if anything, it could at least give us an idea, even if it's non-canon, just like the manga that MatPat used, by the way. So, if you want to know his real size, look up that movie.